Hello, 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 my Hope More family. Happy Hope Day. Happy Hope Day. You know, we don't have no humps around here. It's Wednesday, November the 4th, and I don't know about you. I had to put on concealer because I am tired. Yes, I, like many of you, popped in and out of election night broadcast and was looking at election results coming in, and I feel and been fighting through feeling a little morning sickness. Is that you? If that's you, you need to watch today's show. I hope that you come on and comment. I would love for this to be a discussion, but if it's not, if it's just me talking and you just chiming in afterwards, I just want you to hold on. We got a cure. I got a cure for you, and I hope, like for me, it's going to help you get through morning after general elections, or as we call it, the post-election day morning sickness cure. So I need you to come on, mom, come on, mom, dad, cousins, uncles, nephews, friends, enemies, Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Floridians, Georgians, Alaskans. I need you guys to come on, come on, come on. And I want you to do like me. Get your phone and share it to your page. Share it to your groups, especially if the rules allow it. If you want to have a quick conversation or just get like a little bit of thought to add to your repertoire of things to think about today, please add this show. I am so excited to talk before you. I know I was here Monday and we had a little bit of discussion of safety planning, self-care, as well as next steps before election, things to be considering and prepping for before we know the results. So today, the day after the election day, we're having a discussion on a cure for post-election day morning sickness. So come on, come on. I'm going to do this, and I'm asking you to do this. Go to the Hope More Facebook page and share on your page, share with groups. And if you're watching me on YouTube, please click the bell to make sure that you are notified of any live postings that coming on. Subscribe, and share. I have been excited about talking to you this morning because I feel a little by myself. I don't know about many of you, but I'm very much still quarantining in the sense that I'm not getting in a bunch of group gatherings. Shoot, I didn't even go over my parents' house last night like I thought I would. So I've sort of been mulling over the election night results by myself at home. And although in some ways that's great because I can say what I want to the screen without without any type of retribution, but also on the back end, then it makes me feel a little bit alone. Like I'm the only one that's feeling really weird right now? Am I the only one that's like tearing up? Am I the only one that's sort of like mouth agape? And I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait to come on to talk to my Hope More family today. So I want you to get on here and share this page, and let's get to talking, okay? And I chose what even sounds like a really offbeat subject of orange and pecans. What does that have to do with a morning sickness cure? And I'm telling you, I'm like, Lord, I picked the subject or the description before I even had a great understanding of what I potentially would be sharing. I am literally sharing what has been boiling over in my heart for a little while, but I didn't think about it directly as relating to this election until this morning. Orange and pecans. So here we are. November 3rd is here. We already had sort of a premonition, right, that the election, and not just premonition because we're just super spooky, but we also were told that because of the overwhelming voting, that elections results for a lot of races, particularly the U.S. presidential race, would not be completed on Monday night or Tuesday night. But I didn't believe him. Did you believe him? I didn't believe him. I thought, yeah, they may not have the exact total, but we'll have enough percentages to know who's likely going to be the next president of the United States. We should know at least who likely will have control of the House, who would likely have control of the Senate. So, I was like, yeah. We may not know exact numbers, but we got a good sense. And lo and behold, Lo and behold, it was the truth. Hey, Jennifer Bliss, thank you, love, for showing love. Come on now, we're like, wow, okay, so we're really not going to know. But I don't know about you, but early in the evening, I started feeling sick to my stomach. My Facebook friends know I like was saying I'm crawling in bed. At first, it was just gonna like lay down, and then I'm like pulling the covers up, and I'm looking at my social media, and I'm like, I can't handle this. And the polling booths hadn't even closed on the East Coast. I was like, I can't handle this. All we hear about is consequence, consequence, consequence. And I'm like, Lord, what is going to happen? I was one of the people who posted to my post was like, oh my God, I just wanted it to be over. And I was like, I know, it feels like we're at the eve of apocalypse. Either way, particularly as it relates to the supporters of the different presidential um, nominees. And I was just like, what in the world? And I have very, very strong feelings as to why I was like feeling all this anxiety because I was thinking, like, okay, if this person wins, what if their supporters start rioting in the streets? If this person wins, what if the person who lost, their militia people get together and make good on promises for race war and civil war? Or what if it doesn't matter who wins? We're going to literally be taking sides and determining North and South type of implications, like Confederates and, the federal. It was like, I can't, God, help me. I can't. And at the same time, the Lord was whispering in my ear, I am still God. I am still God. So in the midst of that and working through that, I'm still, thankfully I was talking to a friend of mine and throughout the night, and often I had the television volume off and just looking at results. I don't want to hear the commentary. I don't want to hear what other people are saying about what this means and what that could mean and how this can work. I don't even want to hear stupid talk about or premature talk about who may have won or what type of court situations may happen. I just want to see numbers. I want to see numbers. And when I woke up this morning, I felt sick. Well, first of all, because I was up till like three something after getting out of bed early in the afternoon. So I was like, "Ooh, you're tired." But for the first time after election, even though we don't have a lot of the final counts, I started crying. And okay, I started crying because I was weeping and I was like, why? Okay. And my heart was like, because I feel like this is the end of at least an era or a nation in a way that just really shocked me. And really, what I was shocked about was not so not so much that people were, making their own decisions based on their own convictions who to vote for, but there was so much hostility and ugliness, not just before the results are finalized, but during the vote, during this whole election season. And I was like, God, so if one candidate wins and there's these aspects of that candidate's character, or if this candidate wins and their aspect of their policy or platform that I don't agree with, that I hate, because you hate a lying tongue, a proud look, hands that shed innocent blood, feet that are swift to run to evil and mischiefs, heart um, that create evil imaginations, brethren who are separated and there's division created. If you hate that, is it okay that I don't find myself believing that either candidate has all of those things? So can one win and we still have an opportunity to correct some things about that candidate or policy? What is happening? Because the way it seems like all winners, all bets are off. You have, depending on who's in the Senate or House, what looks like very little accountability, then what do we do? And I was reminded of some things, and that brought me to oranges and pecans. I was reminded that at the end of the day, especially in our beautiful country, America, the United States of America, so many changes have happened outside of the ballot booth. The civil rights progress happened because people of God, after fasting and praying, petitioned the Lord and then provoked our country to actually adhere to the promises of the Constitution. And not only that, they risked their lives by standing on moral principles of nonviolence and love and forgiveness that Jesus taught. That, along with the timing of the media exposing what was happening in the Jim Crow South or in Chicago to the world, in some ways it pushed, maybe through embarrassment or persuasion, the rest of America to get on board. But here's the truth, it wasn't the majority. If civil rights integration was placed on the ballot of the United States, we would not have won. Actually, the whole fight over the Supreme Court and the power really came from how powerful it was for Brown v. Board of Education to literally overturn Plessy versus Ferguson, or idea of separate but equal, saying that separate could never be equal. So we've been fighting for the longest to get our Supreme Court, or who you want and what issues you want handled, because we realize a panel of a few people can decide the outcome of our whole country. So I was encouraged about that. Like, every huge thing that's happened in our country hasn't happened through the ballot box. And then I think about the idea that many times we will harvest what we did not plant, as well as we find value in things that we've ignored in the past. So listen. So oranges and pecans. Some of you who are my dearest friends know that a couple of years ago, bid it on an auctioned off house, got it, paid cash, no mortgage, renovated it. And this little piece of house was entangled in a mesh of trees, and it sat here for a while. There were some other houses close to it that were really not up to par. So I bought those houses, tore them down, and little by little, we continue to work on the property. And, I hope to extend some of the rooms, and, haven't really gotten to landscaping yet. But for 7 months, I just looked at the house. I was like, I'm not living in that. That's what I said secretly. Like, I'm not living in that. That's going to be an investment. We're going to rent that out. But the Lord was like, it is yours. Go take the land. Okay, I'm going to try not to preach. Go, it's yours. Go take the land. I'm like, but that's not the land I wanted. That's not even me. Ain't that right? Amen, Shantrika. That is not even me. And the Lord said, take the land. So when I went and finally moved in and got the wall colors and the floor I wanted and the furniture, I was like, I feel like I have a little, Parisian bungalow here. I love it. I live in Perry, Florida. So, like, I consider myself having a little Parisian bungalow in the midst of, what used to be a jungle. Recently, my father has come over almost every day to do what? To pick pecans. Yes, my property, even though we cut off and cut down a lot of trees, I still have standing about 3 or 4 pecan trees that I didn't know were pecan trees. I grew up with the pecan trees close to our property, and we would pick up pecans. But, as a kid, it was just something to do. And I was like, I don't think those things work. In fact, there's a lot of stuff around here, not grass, leaves and debris. And I don't see no pecans. I don't know what you're talking about. Those are all dead. These trees are probably dead. In my yard, this pecans trees have been there, like, oh, whatever. And literally, I would look at my dad, and he would take like what looked like a little slinky tied to a pole and just go through the leaves, going down on the ground and picking up pecans. And now he has bags and bags of pecans. And these little bit of units that I didn't even notice, because all I remember about the trees here is that I had to hone out of a jungle to have my house be livable. I really discounted what was growing on the land that God told me to take. And here it has happened that I'm seeing my dad pick up bags that are turning into barrels. And then someone's like, you can get $8 to $10 per bag for those things. And I'm like, what? I didn't even think they were valuable. On the land that God told me to take, I did not have any clue or think that these little brown things had any value. In fact, to me, they sort of looked like all of it looked dead. I don't know, for those who are not in the country, if you've ever seen a pecan in its hole, not just in its shell, but there is a thick greenish, sometimes black hole over the more nice looking brown shell that holds the pecan, the actual nut inside. And if you just look at it, it just looks old and nasty, and I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to crack that open. But now we are just like, pecan this, pecan that. I'm like, I'm doing pecan pies for Thanksgiving, all because I looked at my dad take what looked like hunting for trash and rocks, the opportunity to harvest what is on the land that God told me to take. Why did I mention pecans? And I even talk about it first, that the cure for my morning sickness is that if I'm doing the will of God in my life, I can't speak for anybody else. I can't speak for a party. I can't speak for who you voted for. But if I'm taking and possessing the call, the land that I have in my life, then I have to understand that there's blessings in that land, no matter who's in control, no matter even if I didn't even see what other things on that land I possessed, or that calling I'm walking in, or that life I'm living in that time, that there are little opportunities that look ugly and thrown away, and there's of course no value in it, you would suppose. But if you just take out the time and gather them, take off the hull and the shell, and then see that these little, what looks like insignificant things on trees that look, or fruit, or harvest that looks like it's dead and gone, or it was a jungle, and now you excavate value from it, that God was showing me that there is pecans in whatever circumstance is happening right now, not just in my life, but for this country, for this political process. I don't know what those pecans are for you. Some of those pecans for me are, they're not little by any means, but like one of my best friends, C. Renee Little, has won her judgeship in Charlotte, North Carolina. That is so exciting. That is a bag of pecans right there. My friend Lucy Macbeth has been reelected to U.S. Congress. She beat Hendelman again in a very conservative area, and she's a Democrat. Not that party makes a difference, but it was just like, oh, that is so good. Cobb County in Georgia just won their first Black sheriff. I mean, Cobb County is where Newt Gingrich used to be the representative over that area. That is amazing. You guys, and thank you guys telling me to preach. I do feel like I'm preaching. I'm thinking about the fact that Christians all over the country were praying for peaceful elections and a lack of violence at the polls and intimidations. Except for a few places here and there, it happened. It was like people have things boarded up and there's nothing mischievous happening. God is in control. God is in control. Yes, Cobb County represent Lisa Cupid in Cobb County winning the county commissioner chair. I mean, there's so many pecan bags of good things, and in my opinion, um, valuable things that are part of the land that I'm conquering, even if it's not my particular country, county, or region. But I'm like, those are pecans. That's showing me that even if certain things happen, that it doesn't mean there's this utilitarian or this monolithic view of what life is going to be. There's a very real sense in my heart that we're basically on the brink of the destruction that happened similar after Reconstruction. And those of you who don't know about Reconstruction, during Reconstruction, Black men were allowed to vote, and there were so many Black men who went to state as well as federal Congress and was enjoying that sense of freedom. But Jim Crow laws came to be to basically turn back the hands of time. And it just seemed like this election is so consequential because all I could think about is what will be turned back on the hands of time. And then I'm reminded that God is in control of time. And even if I see what I feel like is a mountain slide on one area, doesn't mean every place is sliding down. Doesn't mean the whole village is about to be destroyed. And here you go, just like pecans look like trash, a situation that I may feel like has no value. God in his infinite wisdom knows the value that's ahead. And I may be able to say, wow, I didn't know that when I possessed that land that had that jungle covered house, it would end up having fruit that I did not plant, but I'm going to appreciate and enjoy. So for me, one of the cures I have are these pecans. These pecans are reminding me, come on, hope it may take a little time to find it. It may not get all the big hoopla and all the coverage, but what are your local, state, and even national elections that have nothing to do with some of the more heated national elections? What are wins that you see that you can pick up and put in bags that have value? Don't throw away everything. Don't walk away from your land. Don't threaten to shut down, move to France. You still have value in those little things that all together still adds up to beautiful fruit, nuts, and produce from this land that I'm occupying that God gave me, which is also, I think, America's a part of that. America is a part of the land God gave me. My ancestors worked and toiled and died hoping for a greater day for their generation. And I would dare not act as if their sacrifice was in vain or if everything's as worse as it was when we were being lynched, like what happened in Ocoee, Florida, 100 years ago on November 3rd, 1920, after one man tried to vote in the elections, they end up killing over 60 Black people and running them out of town. I thank God that I don't have to do that. That's a pecan right there. So far, it looks like there's been no interference from foreign governments. Even though there's crazy talk about voter fraud, there's been no real proof of voter fraud. Like elections really, and the American ability to have a fair and free election. I'm so proud to say that it seems like we were and are accomplishing that, even if it's taking a little bit longer. Let me get to my oranges. We're talking about taking a little longer. So in front of my house is a big tree, of which I had no idea what it was. And last year, my dad was like, that's an orange tree. And I'm like, really? Why is there an orange tree just like literally in the front of the yard? And I remember picking up like a round fruit that was orange. And I was like, oh, okay, there's an orange. Okay, this tree again is probably dying and has things wrapped all around it. Like, okay, it may be an orange tree, but there's no fruit that could come from it. And so as I've been exploring this whole pecan harvesting going on every day at my house, I look over and I notice that the tree has an abundance of these green balls. And my dad was like, you see your oranges? You see your oranges? I'm like, no, I don't see any oranges. And then the greens start becoming lighter and lighter. And just the other day when I was outside, I mean, it just felt like it was overnight. I turned around and I see yellow and gold and orange colors coming from the tree. And I was like, oh my goodness, they're like real oranges. And there's one side that has more oranges than the other. And I was like, why is that? And Dad's like, well, you got vines wrapped around that have come in and started sort of eating from the sources, eating from the sources of the tree. So the area of the tree that's free has more oranges, and the other one is sort of like straining for resources to grow more. But we're going to cut those vines down. So I'm just getting excited, and it does play a portion. I was so excited. I was taking pictures of my orange tree and the oranges, and I just wanted to grab one and take it down and taste it. When I get up close, I see there's still much greenness to the orange and it's not ready. But something that I didn't even think about, care about, is now created great anticipation, but it's just not right. And we've had a lot of examples and metaphors about how we're feeling right now as a nation, not knowing results. But I think for me, one of my cures of post-election day morning sickness is I am not in the business of trying to make a determination before we have the result. One of the things I did last night and this morning, even though I have looked at news a little bit more this morning, is like, you know what? I don't really want to hear a lot of the commentation, is that a word? Commentary about what could happen and how and who and what, because it just messes up my head and it makes me more sick. And I'm like, oh my goodness, have they thrown away ballots? Oh my goodness, are they not going to count mail-in ballots? And it's just like all this uncertainty. But how about we're not ready? It's not right. The results are not here. So why am I going to get my stomach tight about something that's not even realized yet? Let the supervisors of elections and the Secretary of State and all those people deal with that. And my oranges are beautiful. And and one side looks heavier than the other, but they're not ready to be picked. And if I was to pick one right now and eat it, it would make me sick. So when I say oranges as a cure for post-election day, I'm talking about my oranges that are on my tree. They're not ripe yet. And I can't pick them and eat them. And I can't get frustrated that I can't know. And for me, because I'm not feeling good, it's just not a good, effective way for me to start my days by just wondering and wishing, when can I eat an orange, or to pick it right, and or pick it when it's not ripe. And that's how I feel about these election results. It's not right. I'm not going to pick them. And I'll let those people who get paid a lot of money to pontificate about how things can work out, but I want to hear the final result. So oranges and pecans, my cure for post-election day morning sickness is don't worry about the things that are not ripe yet for you to pick. They may be beautiful, and you may even have a sense that one side may be better or fuller than the other, but until they're ripe to pick, none of it's good to go ahead and take into your system. And if you do that, I think it's like, even though you're not eating the orange, but you are staying away from what is not ripe, it just allows you to detox. It just like allows your stomach to settle. And the pecans, they are ready. They're small. It takes more time to grab them, unhull them. They may look like trash or something that's not as cute as these little, huge little bulbs of fruit, but store them enough in bags, they can give you great value. And what's amazing, I didn't plant the tree for the oranges or the pecans. I didn't even see they were valuable, but they were part of the land that I was possessing, so I get to benefit from them. Listen, whoever wins this election, come close. Whoever wins this election, you better take advantage of whatever policy or position that can benefit you, your family, the groups you represent. Take advantage. You did not create the tree or plant the seeds, but you can reap the harvest. Oh, please believe. And if the candidate you didn't choose wins, you can still demand accountability and push the things that you feel very, 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 very strongly about. You think if President Trump remains president, that I won't be happy to hear about different people in prison reform getting out of jail? I don't care if it's Kim Kardashian or the idea of want to look like a benevolent slave master. For those inmates who are serving life sentences on nonviolent offenses, for them getting out, you better pick that fruit. If Biden wins and you feel like, okay, I'm gonna shore up my health insurance, but I'm a conservative, I didn't vote for him. You need that health insurance. You better use that health insurance. This is your land. And I'm tired of feeling like I have the choice of choosing to stay in this land or become an expatriate, even in my heart. And I believe that selling in my mind has helped me push through this morning sickness. And I hope it helps you push through yours. Because whatever it is on your land and you get to eat from it. And how about You get to plant some stuff because I got a little plot of land back there. And I want to make a little garden. And I'm going to ask my friend Brandy Turner to help me because I don't have a green thumb. But I have places to plant. And in the United States, we still have places to plant fruit that no one even cares about on the national level, but we care about it. So stop being sick like it's all over. Stop being sick like, oh, we're going to be like carrying bales of hay and picking cotton any moment now. If it happens, it happens. Worrying about it is not going to help. Stop getting more ammunition and guns. Hear my heart. That thing won't move the way your understanding of you taking the land that you're in, taking every benefit of the land that you're in. And that is helping me get through my morning sickness because I'm going to take advantage of every single thing, regardless who wins. So don't be surprised where I may find myself because you're like, oh, I don't like that candidate or that person or that policy or that ideal. I'm sorry for you, but I'm going to take advantage of it. So it's going to work out for me. So listen, I was trying to put an end this time with playing one of my favorite songs about be encouraged, don't give up. For the race is not given to the swift, neither is it given to the strong, but to the one that endureth to the end. Be encouraged. But I couldn't find it. So that's all you're going to get. But be encouraged. Don't give up. Let's get through this morning sickness. Whether it's morning sickness is caused because you over party thinking that you knew what would happen and it didn't, so you're intoxicated on your own presumptions, or is it morning sickness because you feel impregnated, literally, that there's something you're about to give birth to? Or if it's morning sickness because you may have woken up on the wrong side because you've been eating the wrong stuff in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit. Some of that stuff may be you holding offense against your neighbor because they have a different sign in their yard. Some of that may be a church member who has a different flag on their car. You can't stand them. Now you don't want to talk to them. And listen, I am walking it like I talk it because there are groups and people who I've just like, God, I don't see how I can be around them because I take what they support or who they support as a reflection of how they see me. And the truth is, there's validity in that, but it's also understand that's reciprocal. And I have to decide the kind of person I want to be. Do I want to be that? Is that a part of sort of like the oranges and pecans I need to look at? What can I eat from? What's too ripe to eat? And sometimes it's just better just to like chill out on that for a second. And it's okay. Let me tell you, this morning I cried. I yelled at the TV. Now I'm sort of laughing. And tomorrow I may just get angry. And it's okay. Some of us need to practice some table side talk. Call your best friends. Let them know how you feel before you post it on Facebook. Because how about you may not need to post it or respond to that political post of a Facebook friend or IG. Just like it's not so much that you can't say what you want, but we're still in the process. And sometimes your own venom is what's making you sick. It's not the enemy that you think is making you sick. It's your own venom. The power of life and death is in the tongue. So I'm speaking health, life, victory, blessings. I am blessed. I am so blessed. I'm still blessed. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter who wins, but what I'm going to say is that I'm blessed in the field. I'm blessed in the city. I'm blessed in Florida. I'm blessed with a Republican president. I'm blessed with a Democratic president. I'm blessed with, whatever. I'm still blessed. And I'm going to get to harvest things I didn't plant. And it's going to be for my good because I took the land that God gave me. Even if it looked like it has tattered buildings and in the midst of a jungle, there is a home for me and there's a home for you. And I just pray that you have a wonderful hope day. Spread hope today. Spread love. And if you're a believer, spread God. What would God do in this moment? What would he say? How would he love? Thank you, Chandrika. And I love it. Thank you, Jennifer. Yes, we have to be patient. There's so many good things. I love it. Sylvia Slaughter says, I am blessed. And sometimes, yes, it is our own venom that can make us sick. Venom is that a new word? Venom that can make us sick. And I don't want to be sick. We got too much to do, y'all. COVID is still here. We still have children to raise, people to marry, hopefully in the future. Um, Businesses to prosper, church ministry to grow. People need Christ more than ever before. So I want to be known as a spreader of hope and elevation of love more than a political party or even the idea and propaganda that comes along with that. So I'm freeing myself. I'm getting over this morning sickness, and I may still have a little tinge here and there. But for me, my oranges and pecans help remind me that that's the cure. And then if things don't help, not and then also one of the things that helps all kind of cure for sickness is a praise and a prayer. Praise and prayer all day. Praise and prayer all day. Oh, Chandrika, thank you so much. Be encouraged. Don't give up. The race is not given to the swift or the strong or the bullies. It's given to the ones who endure. And the one thing about it, it seems like, what did Martin Luther King say? The arc of justice is long, but typically sweeps up. So I love you so much. I love each and every one of you. There's no person that is watching or could watch from a party, class, state, anything that I hate. I love you, and I mean it. Y'all have a great Hope Day. God bless you. Bye-bye. Be encouraged.